I get a feeling there's going to be a riot.
I don't read the newspapers because they all have ugly prints.
At the starting of the week, at Summit Talks, you'll hear them speak. It's only Monday. Negotiations breaking down. See the leaders at the front. It's more than Monday.
We are back with another edition of your favorite morning show, The Daily Dose on the Guerrilla Radio Network.
We'll be sitting, taking lunch, and news will hit you like a punch. It's only Tuesday.
What's happening?
Ask your doctor if the Daily Dose is right for you. Common side effects include sarcasm, informed opinions, and wondering how the hell these people got elected. The Daily Dose starts now.
What's happening?
Tomorrow never comes until it's too late. Tomorrow never comes until it's
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the June 17th edition of your Daily Dose. I am your host, Eric Landers, and this is our show where we cover everything in the news and everything that happened the last few days. And we do this show Monday through Friday. But unfortunately, because of my insane work schedule, I have been unavailable to do this show since last Thursday. Was my last broadcast, unfortunately. But I'm back in action again. I apologize for the delay. And hopefully we get back on track and we can start doing the show every day like we've been doing leading up to the beginning of this week, because my work schedule was out of control. And but nonetheless, we're back. Daily Dose on the Guerrilla Radio Network. We're broadcasting. We're coming to you live out of Palm Harbor, Florida. We're going to cover a little bit of local news. We're going to cover a little bit of international news, and then we'll cover some national news and some sporting events and things like that that you may or may not already know about. But we're going to put our guerrilla touch on them as we move forward. So without delaying any further, let's go ahead and get into our local weather. Once again, we're in Palm Harbor, so this doesn't apply to you if you're listening to me outside of the country or outside of the local area. This only applies to the Tampa Bay area. So, guys, if you haven't seen the weather this morning in your local, go ahead and watch this. This will get your day.
Fox 13 meteorologist Dave Osterberg with your Sky Tower Vector Scan forecast.
5:16 on a lovely Wednesday morning around here. Look at the temperature. So we got up to the 90s yesterday, several hours in a row. We were sitting in the lower 90s. And then at 1 o'clock, see how we jumped? We dropped from 83 to 78 back to 81. There was actually a tiny shower that moved by the airport at 1 o'clock this morning. It amounted to like 4/100ths of an inch of rain. It was nothing, but it was enough to drop the temperature down several degrees, and then it came right back up again. So we sit at 81 degrees in Tampa this morning, 82 in St. Pete, 83 in Sarasota. But look how warm and steamy it is along the coast with all these 70s inland. Lakeland still in the upper 70s first thing this morning. But wow, the humidity levels are sky high. And it's that onshore wind doing it to us. Dew points running 76 to 78 degrees. And that's not going to change. If anything, it's going to get even muggier. Notice tomorrow we're seeing dew points up around 77 or so going into Friday as well. That obviously plays into the afternoon heat. So for today, as we get up to 92, 93 degrees and you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like 100 to 104. So yesterday's heat indices were a little less than 100 for a lot of us. Today, they're going to be over 100. And tomorrow, how about a little bit hotter? I know you're like, what? Yeah, it just keeps going up, right? 104 to 106, 107 in a couple of spots for tomorrow. It doesn't help when you have rain chances down around 30%, which is what we do have. Here's your potential tropical cyclone number 1. Now, they put this out there because you've got a system developing very close to the coast, and it gives them a chance to get the advisories and the watches and the warnings out ahead of time. This may not become a tropical storm. It's going to be very borderline as it approaches the coast of Texas and Louisiana, more than likely sometime later tonight, early tomorrow morning. But what it is going to bring with it is a ton, and I mean a ton of rain. For instance, today, you have a moderate risk for excessive rain from, say, Lafayette, Louisiana to Baton Rouge, all the way over to the New Orleans area. And then from there, you're looking at the potential for several inches of rain tomorrow in parts of our panhandle. So you got Pensacola getting several inches of rain over the next 2 or 3 days. Alabama, Mississippi as well. Yet you come to the west coast of our state and there's very little rain that's going to fall because we have the onshore wind flow, which pushes everything toward the east coast. And really, watch, this is about all we're going to see today in terms of rain. Polk, Highlands County, a couple of quick showers. The rest of us try to find a way to beat the heat, folks. 93 is going to feel like at least 100 for you this afternoon with those rain chances at around 20 to 30%, and they'll be only inland. Warm and steamy tonight with a low of 81. Tomorrow, hot, breezy, 1 or 2 inland storms again with your high of 93 degrees. I will tell you there is enough wind, wind around today. We have a moderate chop on the coastal waters. Father's Day weekend looks like a very typical Father's Day weekend with highs in the lower 90s and rain chances each afternoon at 40%.
There we go, everybody. So we've got a storm out there in the Gulf, and luckily it's not coming towards us. It's going up towards Texas and possibly a little bit of rain and whatnot over in the panhandle of Florida. The season is officially underway. So, make your preparations now. If you live in the Gulf Coast, and you need to, get your supplies for when storms potentially could hit. It's always a good idea to get some flashlights and batteries. If you need wood to board your windows up, now would be the time to get it. Because I know when the storms came around, 2 years ago, I was scrambling at the last second because I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I've been in Florida my whole life. I was, how the hell bad could it be? We've been through this so many times. And then my wife was getting a little nervous about it because it became such a big, intense storm. And so at the last second, I was able to find some lumber and get my windows boarded up in the back section of the house because we don't have hurricane proof in the back. We only have them in the front. So it was I was lucky. I lucked out. So yeah, now would be the time if you guys need to go get stuff, stock up on water. You know what I mean? You never know what might happen, because when the storms do come around, everybody in Florida fucking panics and they act as though like, we've got a nuclear bomb heading our direction. What do we do? We need to buy water. We need to buy toilet paper. Why do you need to buy so much goddamn toilet paper? Nobody in the world ever needs 17 cases of toilet paper for a 3-day potential power outage. You know what I mean? Some days, in some places, it may last longer, but at the end of the day, for the most part, everyone's power was restored about 2 to 3 days after it went out. And I don't think you need enough toilet paper to, supply the United States military for a year. It doesn't make any sense why you have to do that. So anyway, you may want to go and get some basic supplies now, because when the storms do come, if they do come, everyone's going to panic and run to the store and buy up all the crap that they possibly can. And that's when you see real humanity come out. You know what I mean? Like the guy's going in there to go buy some toilet paper for his house because he just needs some, because he's got to take a poo-poo. And there's videos of this all over the internet from when the storms came around the last time, and when COVID came around. You just going in there to go buy something, small amount for yourself, and then next thing you know, you see somebody wheeling out pallets and pallets and pallets of toilet paper for their own personal use, and then somebody's videotaping them saying, "Hey man, leave some of that for us," and then they just flip them off, and they just load up their vehicles, their giant lifted pickup trucks with neon lights and shiny wheels that have $150,000 worth of modifications, and then they drive off with their big diesel engines and call it a day. And so then they're left with the average folk are left holding the bag and having to use their hands to wipe their asses with. That's disgusting. Yeah, that was COVID. That was COVID, and that's the storms when they come around in Florida. So all I'm saying is, if you want to do it, make some preparation so you don't have to be stuck in that situation if and when the time comes. But moving on to some national news. This is kind of a crazy story. I've been kind of following it a little bit. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it, but it keeps popping up on my feed, and it keeps popping up. I don't know if anybody heard about this this bungee jumper in Brazil. she went to go bungee jump off this bridge. I believe the height of the bridge was 130 feet, if I'm not mistaken, to the ground. And the bungee jumping crew forgot to put the bungee jumping rope on her and just threw her ass right off the bridge with no cord. And she, of course, plummeted to her death. So now they're pressing charges and they're arresting the folks that forgot to put the cord on there for criminal negligence. Here's a little bit about that.
There is video of this that we're about to show you. We were not going to be showing you the full extent of this video, but it involves a woman who was apparently doing some skydiving off of a cliff, off of a bridge, rather. That's the woman right there. She was on a bridge in Brazil, and
Skeleton Bridge is what it's called.
Yes.
That's a look at it right now.
And she, according to reports, the bungee instructors,
Here's the video.
they forgot to put the rope around her for the bungee. You can see
There were so many people
rope right
watching.
there.
I don't know
Yes.
how this
including
happened.
her fiance.
Her fiance was watching. After they essentially threw her over the edge, he got sick and had to get taken to the hospital because he was just so distraught over what he just saw. I mean, his fiance just plunged to her death. It was a 130-foot drop.
Yeah.
6 have been arrested following this, including 3 that are being charged with homicide by conditional intent. So I'm just going to read this to you. This type of charge is brought when a person is believed to have knowingly engaged in a risky activity which could result in another's death. I mean, in the video, someone yelled, "Guys, the rope," but it was too late.
And the 3 being charged are the 3 you see right there are the bungee instructors. This
2 were trying to run away.
Yes, they were caught in the woods just a little bit later by a military helicopter. And the company, we know, at least in Brazil, it was reportedly unlicensed. And based on the reports that we've been able to get so far,
How in the hell do you forget to do the one thing that your job entails? I mean, you only have to do one thing. Well, I guess 2 because you have to throw them off the bridge, but usually they kind of jump themselves. But nonetheless, the one thing that matters the most in a bungee jumping scenario is attaching the bungee cord to the people's feet or to their waist so that they don't fall and plummet to their death from 130 feet above. There's no checklist? Like, here's what the checklist consists of. Attach bungee cord. Check. That's all they had to do. That's the only thing that they had to do was attach this goddamn bungee cord to this lady's feet and then throw her over the bridge. So apparently the checklist maybe didn't get printed off that day, or they lost the laminated copy that they used a dry erase marker for so they can reuse it over and over again to keep their operational costs down. So, yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. The only thing they had to do was attach a bungee cord to this lady and then throw her ass off the bridge. Well, they did one of 2. They threw her ass off the bridge and she landed probably on her head, I guess. I don't know. Probably turned into a big pile of bone and blood at that point when she hit the ground. But that's incredible to me that you forgot the one thing that you're supposed to do. It's amazing. It's it's mind-boggling that could even be a thing. But anyway, so yeah, I guess the lady's fiance got sick from what that lady's saying. Look, you think he got sick and had to be rushed to the hospital? I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I would be throwing those people off the bridge. You know what I mean? I would go into a fit of rage and just throw all of those idiots off the bridge myself. And then I would just take the charge. No big deal. Yeah, I killed 6 people or 3 people by throwing them off the bridge intentionally, 100% premeditated. I'm admitting it right now. I would absolutely do it. Amazing that even happened. But so anyway, yeah, we had a busy week though. You know, in the news. Unfortunately, I missed a lot of the coverage because I had to work. But I mean, the World Cup is in full swing right now. The NBA Finals, I was doing NBA coverage. I didn't get to cover that, but the Knicks apparently won the finals, so that's good. That's the first time in quite some time for them. So New York was really, really going crazy and celebrating as they should have been. Iran, apparently, the deal with that is underway, you know, and hopefully we get a little bit of relief of the gas pumps here soon. I haven't seen it in the last few days since this supposed deal has been set into place. But yeah, so apparently we absolutely have a deal in place. And I don't know, there's conflicting information though, because some reports are saying that we have to pay $300 million to Iran in reparations for the to rebuild and whatever because of the conflict. And then of course the White House is denying all those allegations, saying that's completely false and that was never agreed to. So there's a little bit about the Iran deal. If you want to pay attention to it, if you've been sleeping under a rock for the last few days, I'm not going to play this whole clip, but I'll give you a little.
All right, let's bring in senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum and member of the Council on Foreign Relations, Dr. Kanta Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So gaming things out as to where things stand right now, Iran's economy is in a shambles, and this memorandum of understanding would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. It would also lift our military blockade on Iranian ports. Could this potentially give Iran an economic lifeline while they have not yet agreed to give up their nuclear ambitions?
Well, as we've reported, the text has not yet been seen, but all of the signals that are being reported in respected outlets, yours, Bloomberg, Reuters, are concerned that this is really a deal to begin negotiating a deal. It seems that Iran is winning a lot of reprieve. There is no consequences for Iran's actions. There's no limitation on its sponsorship of proxies. For instance, Hezbollah is unscathed, and it seems like the ceasefire is going to include Hezbollah, which is at great expense to the state of Israel.
So anyway, that's a little bit of the blah, blah, blah crap that's going on over at the Iran peace deal signing. So like I said, hopefully we get a little bit of relief at the gas pumps and the American people can start enjoying the benefit of a paycheck again, not having to worry about spending it all just to get back and forth to work, to get a paycheck, to get back and forth to work again, which is pretty much what we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 3-4 months, since this conflict has started. So we're going to go into a little bit of news with Donnie T. I like to cover a little bit of stuff with that. So let's go ahead and get the music.
To the shit show every single day. A new flavor of fuckery, 'cause everybody's such.
Welcome to What It Do with Donnie T, where the nation pauses to see if anything got done today, or if the presidency is just a full-time job posting on Truth Social all day and all night once again. Let's check it out and see. All right, everybody. So, one of the biggest stories in the news that's been going on for the last, I don't even know how long, is this goddamn reflecting pool that apparently it needed these millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of repairs in order to get done and cleaned up and looking beautiful, make the reflecting pool beautiful again. Basically, that's what we've been going through, and that's what we've been hearing for the last X amount of months. And apparently, it was finally completed and looked beautiful. You could see the beautiful reflections in there, and the water was crystal clear. You could see it all the way down to the bottom. And apparently, what we did is we painted it American blue was the color that we were being told was the base of the pool was painted, and that would provide a more reflective source so that you could see the reflections of the Washington Monument and and whatnot inside of there. But apparently, it was only blue for a couple of days, and then it turned green. Yeah. So apparently, it looks worse than it did before the repairs.
Before we want to take you to a live look at the National Mall, and you can see the newly renovated reflecting pool. We've been talking a lot about it, and its new dark blue, hue to it.
Yeah, it looks more blue in this
from this angle.
Shot. But there is a problem. The water, much of the water at least, is green. Really, really green. News 4's Megan McGrath is live this morning to explain what exactly is going on. Megan.
Well, good morning. The problem is algae. Algae has turned the water in the reflecting pool green, and so there's quite a cleanup effort underway here. Within the last few minutes, if we push down to the far end of the reflecting pool there by the Lincoln, you can see the folks standing at the end. They showed up a couple minutes ago. They're dumping jugs of some kind of a liquid, doing it right now here, into the water of the reflecting pool. It appeared earlier, too, they might have been taking some water samples as well. If we pan over, we can see the nano bubbler that is here on site, too. There are tubes, hoses that are attached to it going into the water. That is putting oxygen into the water, which algae does not like. So that's part of the cleanup effort. Now,
I'll tell you what, that 1 gallon of chlorine that guy's pouring into that probably 500,000 or million gallon pool is absolutely going to do its job. You know what I mean? The dilution ratio, it clearly states on the side of the bottle, 500 million to 1. So yeah, I think he's really getting it done when he's pouring that 1 gallon of whatever it is in there, and it's really going to clean it up, and it'll clean it up. It'll be the fastest cleanup we've ever seen in the history of the reflecting pool. That's what Don will say when he finally addresses it publicly, which he has not said a word about it since the pool was reopened again 4 days ago, I guess now at this point, and then turned completely green. So it'll be the biggest turnaround in the reflecting pool's history. People from around the world will call him and say, I can't believe how quickly you turned the green into blue. You do an amazing job as the keeper of pools. I only wish you could come in and maintain my pool at my house, because everyone knows that you're the best pool maintenance man in the world. Your knowledge of algae and your knowledge of chlorine is on the the genus level, and no one's knowledge of water and aquatics can ever compare to your knowledge that you have as far as water treatment goes. And that's what he's going to say, that people from around the world have called him and told him that after if and when it ever turns blue again. I was going to do my Donnie T impression, but it's just a little bit too early in the morning. I don't think you guys are ready for it yet, so I went ahead and I said that in my own voice. I've got a couple of funny stories. Well, let's go ahead and get into this. This isn't a funny story, but I guess there was UFC 250 happened on Sunday night. We won't get into the politics of it all, but apparently there was a potential terror threat that took place, and the FBI thwarted it, from what we're being.
The FBI foils a terror plot targeting the UFC Freedom 250 event held at the White House this weekend. Multiple people from several states have been arrested, including 2 men from Southern California. Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 4. I'm Samantha Cortese.
And I'm John Fenolio. Federal investigators say the group discussed using drones, explosives, and other weapons at the UFC event attended by thousands of people.
KTLA's Lauren Lister is following the latest developments, joining us now live in the newsroom with more. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Sam. Hi, John. We're learning a lot of new details from the criminal complaint and seeing our first images of those California suspects. According to the Justice Department, 2 Southern California men alleged to be part of the plot. 24-year-old Brian Omar Roa of Cali Mesa, as well as 32-year-old Michael Allen Thomas of Pinion Hills. They are 2 of 5 men accused of plotting an attack at the UFC Freedom 250 event held at the White House Sunday. According to the charges, they conspired to plan and execute a mass casualty event targeting U.S. officials who were attending, planning to deploy drones armed with explosive force and evacuation, then deploy snipers to fire on high-value.
How about that? So the FBI stepped up and they intercepted that. That was about to break bad, as the great Walter White would say. Yeah, so I guess the FBI did their job. They went ahead and thwarted the attempt on the terror plot. And you had to know that somebody was planning something for that. I mean, it was such a controversial topic leading up to the actual fight day itself. I mean, some people loved it, some people hated it. People thought it was the best thing that the president's ever done. Other people said he's making the White House a mockery. I don't know if it was made into a mockery. I mean, it was an event, but I mean, it was very misogynistic, and it was certainly very, his direction. It was on his birthday, his 80th birthday. It was held on a Sunday night. You know what I mean? People have to work the next day on Monday. So they probably didn't get the viewers, as many of them, for the main event as they wanted, because people had to work on Monday the next day, you know what I mean? So do it a day early, you know what I mean? Do it on Friday night when people are out of work. Yeah, it's not your birthday, but I mean, how many times have you guys celebrated a birthday a couple days before, a couple days after, because it was appropriate for your scheduling, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, people were up at arms about that. They didn't like the pre-show with the motorcycles. Nitro Circus was out there. Other people loved it. So blah blah blah. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. You know, it doesn't matter who the president is that held the event. It could have been Trump. It could have been Biden. It could have been Obama. If it was Obama, the Republicans would have been saying, "I can't believe he's making a mockery of this," just like they did when Biden held the LGBTQ festival there, or the gay pride, you know what I mean, a couple years back in his last year of presidency. The Republicans were at arms saying he's making the White House a mockery. And then, 2-3 years later, fast forward to Sunday, Donald Trump is holding a UFC fight there. Then those same people that were happy about that, 3 years prior are now complaining, saying he's making it a mockery. It doesn't matter. It's somebody's going to be unhappy at any point. But nonetheless, you had to know that someone was planning some sort of a terror attack on this event. And I knew it going into it that it was probably going to be happening. If not happen, at least it would get broken up, and thankfully it did get broken up because we had a lot of U.S. service members there too that were enjoying the fights. And, they go through enough on the battlefield, to give us this freedom to live the way that we want to live. And it would be a horrible and tragic day if they're just enjoying themselves and something bad happened like that. So hats off to the FBI. Good job for intercepting that and taking care of business. Moving forward, a little bit of World Cup news, not necessarily World Cup itself, but definitely World Cup involved. Apparently the Scottish folk are in Boston and they're drinking all the beer, every bit of beer that Boston has.
If your favorite beer is missing from a tap,
we've never seen anything like it.
There's a decent chance Scotland had something to do with it.
They like a lager or a light lager, and we got two really good ones for them.
Sam Adams downtown ran out of their signature Boston lager over the weekend and needed an emergency delivery to keep up with World Cup fans. And they're not the only ones running dry.
The White Bull Tavern, there was no beer. The Scots fans just drunk the place dry, and all they had was like Bud Light.
Pretty much everything. We ran out of everything. Tennent's being number one.
White Bull Tavern may have run out of Scotland's iconic Tennent's beer, but that didn't stop the party.
The fans have been unbelievable. They're great, they're fun, they're drinking, partying, having a great time.
So you have a drinking kilt for obvious reasons, because it might get some spillage on it. You have a dress kilt, so you always have two kilts.
The Dubliner has also been hopping.
And we had our biggest week ever last week.
And it's the one place Scots can still find their Tennent's lager.
Managed to plan ahead and get an extra delivery last Saturday, and I was told yesterday the distributor has ran out also. He's getting his today and the rest of the city's getting theirs tomorrow.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay up.
That's incredible. I mean, the Scots, they like their beer. That is amazing. I mean, they literally drank Boston out of beer while they were watching Scotland playing the World Cup. That's absolutely incredible. That the one guy said he's got two different kilts. He's got his going out kilt and he's got his beer drinking kilt. They take their beer drinking seriously, like it's their job apparently over in Scotland. So hell yeah, I'm moving to Scotland when I retire. Fuck this place. If that's the life I can live and walk around wearing a beer drinking kilt and just chug beer all day, guess what? Sign me up for that deal. I'm in. Lastly, because the show's run along, I apologize, but I had a lot to cover because I wasn't here the last couple of days, obviously. This is just a funny little ending clip that I wanted to end with. Apparently, a cat stole the show at the Romeo and Juliet performance overseas. And in the last scene, when Romeo's dying, the cat's going up to him. And I just watched the video. You'll see it.
This is amazing. Okay, a cat in Turkey accidentally became the star of Romeo and Juliet. The Imperial Russian Ballet Company was in the final scene of a Romeo and Juliet ballet. When the cat took the stage, the cat started clawing at Romeo's hair as Juliet was dealing with the loss of her love. Later, the cat climbed on top of a prop as ballet dancers continued the performance as usual. When they say the show must go on, even if a cat is clawing at your hair while you're laying there dying on the ground, my goodness.
I was going to say,
I thought that was hilarious when I saw that. I'm a cat lover myself. I'm an animal lover, but I definitely I got a heart for cats. They're just absolutely adorable in everything that they do. Even when they're being little assholes, they're still cute doing it. And I thought that was a funny clip to end the show today because we had a lot of other shit in there that horrible shit that's in the news that happens every day. So I figured we'd end the show on a high note. All right, everybody. Again, it is June 17, 2026, 8:45. I ran long today. I'm going to go ahead and get the show wrapped up until tomorrow. We'll have another episode of the Daily Dose at 8:15. And I think we're going to do our weekly show tomorrow, either tomorrow or Friday also. If you don't catch it live, of course, you can always watch it again at a later date on either Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at Guerrilla Radio Network. You can follow us on Instagram at Guerrilla Radio 47, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at OG Guerrilla Radio. And you can watch all of our clips and you can watch all of our shows at a later time if you don't get a chance to watch them live. We appreciate everyone tuning in and listening today. I look forward to being able to do this show again and again and again without interruption. We'll see, but my schedule at work kind of flips and changes a little bit now from time to time. So hopefully we'll be able to do this show ongoing every day, and we'll get it done. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Welcome to the church, volume 2. Exclusive 213. Got my nephew Nate Dogg in the house. Nate Dogg, holla at him. Where you at?
Riding in my car, and I'm listening to the radio. I'm listening to a sad girl sang about how she got her heart broke. People reaching for stars. I just want me something natural. When you're alone, it gets mighty.